everybody. Welcome to an episode of The Girls Want to Know.
Hi, Boos.
What do they want to know, girl?
Everything.
They sure fucking do,
They
bitch.
do. They need to know everything.
They actually do need to know because it's rough outside.
The struggle is real, actually.
The struggle is real.
It's like a lot of very unsavory things happening in a lot of very unsavory places.
We are only in month 2 of 2023.
I don't love it.
And I'm feeling like a lot is going on.
It is. What's new with you?
Good things, positive things, a lot of hard work as per usual, but happy things. I'm in my happy girl season. I love
that.
it.
Soft life me, please.
I will say that's what's going on with me. I'm in a space right now. I was telling my therapist today where I'm like, I have never been in the happy girl season.
Oh.
So I'll be stressed.
Oh, I love this for you.
Yeah,
Okay.
everything's going smooth, and like the way I grew up and the way my life has been, I now have anxiety when it's going good.
Oh, yeah, no.
I'd be like, what's around
what
the
do
corner?
they call that? It's like preemptive anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I'm
So,
glad you're in your happy girl
yes.
phase. That's wonderful.
But I'm in a happy space. How about you?
Fabulous. I just released my job.
Yes. Quitting jobs is in.
Quitting jobs is so 2023, right?
What do they call it?
I
Did you
don't
do
know.
a secret? What is it? Secret? You know how they got names.
Oh, it's a secret
silent
quitting
quit
or silent quitting or something like that.
Okay.
I'm very into that idea though,
Bitch.
and I guess I did a form of that because I was certainly on leave for quite a bit of time.
Okay. You did it the right way.
I did, and I spent a lot of that time just kind of healing from some things that happened at work and things that happened in life in general. Because like you had a very traumatic experience growing up. But yeah, released my job, and
That's good.
I feel so good about it. Like I have so much peace about it. I was at that job for 11 years.
Ooh, the same one?
Yeah. That's the longest, like, it's a lot. It's a very long commitment to a job. Yeah, it was
I don't
time
think I've
to
been in a
go.
relationship with a man
I
for
know.
11 years. Goddamn.
It was definitely time for me to let it go, and I am
Okay,
very
applaud you
glad.
for 11
Thank you.
years. I don't think I've
Thank
heard
you.
anybody in our generation work that long. That's
I
insane.
know. It's like ludicrous that I was at that job for that long.
So
And
it was time to
It
go
was
ahead and
very
move
much
on.
time to go, and I
Mhm.
think also for me, I never really saw myself working like that. Like when I graduated from college and I was in an office, my sister was like, "Who hired you?"
Not who hired you.
What are you doing? But the thing is, like, I never really, I could imagine like retiring from there.
Yeah.
I never wanted to have to punch a clock for the rest of my life. Like it wasn't something that I could really reconcile in my brain. And so now I'm just going to pursue the things that I love. So I'm going to food blog. And
Well, you're in the town to do
blog.
it. You
Yes,
better.
I am.
And you could do it.
Yeah.
You know,
You can.
you
I've
can
been doing it. I just have to like commit to it at this point full time, and I'm happy with that. So yeah.
It's just full on hard work with anything you want.
It's a
Like,
lot. I gotta wake up at 5 in the morning like you.
Oh God. I mean, yes, I'll be up. I'll be up with the chickens
like,
for sure.
Really, it's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't love it.
Yeah, it does. That came with time for me. Discipline.
Okay.
Yeah,
I need to do a meditation on waking up early.
I started that late. My brother got me on that.
The early wake ups?
That and the
Meditation?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They work.
So what are we talking about today, girl?
Ooh, we're talking about gender wars because I just want to get it out of the way. I feel like
baby, it's war outside. But it is.
We just need to get that out of the way so we're gonna talk about it.
It's war outside.
Like, it's a lot.
It's a lot going on.
We're talking about just like what our thoughts are on having children and marriage and yada 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 yada. We're just gonna get it out of the way.
Kicking it off with the gender wars.
We'll kick it off with this, and then next episode we'll move on to something else.
Dating.
So, yeah.
It's been a fight. I ain't heard this is the first time in my life I've never heard any positive stories from any of my girlfriends about a date they've gone on. I haven't heard anybody be like, "Oh, it was great and he was this." It's always he was good, but
I mean, I have definitely been on great dates. I just haven't been on great dates with guys that I would go on a second date with. Because
that ain't a good date.
It's a great date.
Well,
Like, it don't be them. I just don't feel anything for them.
Mm.
Like I think I just struggle to feel things for people. So, and I'm not a person who's gonna like go on a second date with you if I don't feel it.
To explain to you guys what we saying about gender wars, I feel like now men are upset.
They are. They're
Men are upset
angry.
outside, or positions are switching, or something's not adding up.
I think that because we were talking about the podcast situation, how a lot of guys have.
That's what made me think
like,
it is.
It's epidemic. Like. It's
I
really
didn't know that
crazy.
there was these many angry men.
But I think
they hate women real hard. Like
I think they hate women, but I also think they resent the fact that they don't have access to women the way that their parents and grandparents had access to women. And so they're frustrated.
Yeah.
Because
but do you think this happened after pandemic?
No.
You thought they was already angry?
No, they were already angry.
Okay.
Yeah, they were definitely already angry. I think there's been an influx of podcasts since the pandemic. But that's because everybody was at home. But I think people were already angry because there's just been a trend of women becoming more upwardly mobile and less inclined to deal with bullshit.
And they are struggling.
Yeah.
I was scrolling through my TikTok and sometimes you can get in a timeline where you're like, okay, but I have never seen these.
Hole.
Right. I went down a rabbit hole and then I noticed that there were all these podcasts, just men just literally upset. They're just going off about how they think women are masculine now and that's why they can't, be with a man. And I just didn't know it was this much of a rant. Like I'm used to women ranting about men. I didn't know it was these men sitting at home drinking wine being like, and then she said, like, whoa, I've never seen this. And I even saw recently, which I commented on, was this older Black woman. She was literally in tears. She was like, I don't really do social media, but I didn't know these many Black men hate Black women like this. And she was like, and it makes me really sad.
The thing is, I don't even feel like it's, because I don't think that this is like a Black men specific thing.
Honey.
No, I think men are generally hating women at this point, but I don't think that's a new thing.
Well, clearly.
Yeah, I think the podcast situation is a new thing. But I also think that the resentment of not having access the way that they have had previously or historically is something that they're struggling with. And also just the fact that women are comfortable being alone at this point.
Okay.
Because we needed them before, right? And
Washington Post reported that more women are more comfortable being single than men in this day and age. And more men are now showcasing loneliness and haven't had sex in over a year.
Literally, I think I saw a statistic where it was like 1 in 3 men over 30 hadn't had sex in over a year. I think and I was like, let's make it 1 in 2, guys.
He was like, let's keep it up, ladies.
Let's ratchet it up a little bit.
Well, obviously, we know that this country is ran by men and things have changed.
Everything has been run by men since the dawn of time.
Well, we know that it was a target on us and obviously people weren't getting sex when men were like, you know what? Take away the abortions.
Yeah. Literally.
That's how you know they were like, oh, they ain't giving us babies.
Them.
We got this.
Really like boils down to the fact that people are not wanting women to get abortion because they want the babies. This is
That's
a white
the first
thing.
I've ever heard.
This is a white thing. Okay. It's like a way to make sure that white people are.
Oh, I did read. Okay.
Like staying the highest percentage of the population. Yeah. But I think the other thing is like women have been going to therapy. And
we have been out here healing, baby.
We've been healing. Like, we've really prioritized making sure that we are not perpetuating generational curses. Like, that we are disengaging from the really traumatic experiences that we've had and making sure that we don't take those experiences and, like, place the burden of them on someone else.
Yeah.
And I think what's been frustrating for me in the dating process is I really haven't met men who are prioritizing it in that way. And
I don't think they do.
Yeah.
Women are out here like, no more pain. No more pain. It's like,
baby, I be going to therapy. Like, if I'm in a rough patch, I'll hit therapy twice a week.
Okay. I don't think they really look at it like that.
Yeah.
Or they don't feel like they need to look at it like that. I think the war right now is a lot of men, like, for example, we had a conversation in my other podcast about how they don't feel like spending money on women and like it's like they fed up or something. I don't know. But the fed up doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
It's like we're sick of, like, they're outside picketing like, no more dates for you if you're not going to give us children and sex. Like,
if you're not going to suck my balls.
Yeah, like, it's just weird.
Okay.
Like, they can't take the word no anymore. Yeah. Like, I've never seen these kind of like I remember growing up, like, because I lived in a hood, like, if you ignored a guy, he might like, whatever, bitch, and then pull off. Like, that's the norm. But now I feel like men are like trolling you, or they're like, you got to block them angry. All kind of.
But also they can unfortunately be very violent when they're angry. Like, and it's just kind of like, but really though?
My homegirl I was just with told me she had went on a bunch of good dates, and she was like, one guy she was like, he obviously had like, he was insecure. And she was like, so he kept like pointing out his insecurities. And she was like, and when I said to him like, hey, you don't have to do that, it's okay. He was like, don't tell me what I need to say. And I was like, check, see, we need them to get.
Gotta go, bye.
You need therapy.
Yeah.
Like what? Therapy. But I feel like what's the war with them feeling like they need to be more catered to, I'm noticing.
Well, that's what they saw in their parents' relationships and in their grandparents' relationships. But the problem with that is they don't understand that the onus of maintaining the household, of like rearing the children, of making sure everything is paid on time, and all of that was falling on women. And we're tired. And we've seen what our mothers have gone through, and what our grandmothers have gone through. And I just feel like unless it is the fairy tale, nobody's shooting my club up. Okay. Like, I'm not about it ain't to even gonna be the fairy tale for me. But no, it needs to be a partner who wants to be present. Like, I want somebody who wants to do pickups and drop-offs. I want somebody who wants to do bedtime and story time and go on family vacations together and help me. Because the truth of the matter is, it doesn't matter how present of a father you are. Children want their mother 99.9% of the time. So the responsibility of the parenting is disproportionately placed on women because we're women. Like,
but there's a huge variety of men out there that don't want their woman to make more than them and don't want her to be like successful. I've literally seen podcasts where men are like yelling into the mic and into the camera like, men don't want independent women. And then they say they feel like they're making valid points by saying, well, if she's too independent, then I'm not needed, and that takes away from my manhood.
But what I think is interesting about all of this is that if you don't want to spend $100 on a date, find a girl who is comfortable with a $25 date or a $5 date because y'all want to take people for coffee. If you don't want to deal with a woman who makes more than you, find a woman who makes less. Like, it's really quite simple.
But then they'll turn around and be like the same. This is what I'm saying. They need,
but then they're like, I'm a high value man. I need, they do.
No, they'll turn around and be like, oh, she makes too much money. I'm not needed. And she's too independent. And then they'll turn around and say, well, she need me for too much. I don't want a woman that ain't got nothing. Exactly. You like, what do you want, sir?
But this is what I'm saying.
What is it that you need?
It could all be so simple. Like,
it literally could be.
In my Lauryn Hill voice, it could all be so simple if you just said, these are the things that I want. This is what I will accept. And anybody who is falling outside of the parameters of what I want and will accept is not a viable option.
Yeah.
But people don't want to do that. They want to force their belief system onto other people. I don't want to go on a $25 date. Yeah. And the thing is, I've been invited out for coffee before, and I have accepted when I was in a different place in my life.
Yeah.
I'm not going on no coffee date at this point in my life.
I had a lot of guys being like, oh, well, why should you spend a lot of money for the first date?
You don't have to.
Nobody's saying you need to do that, but
no, but this is the thing.
Have some class in your decision and your choice.
You don't even have to spend a lot of money for the first date. You just have to find a girl who is okay with you not spending a lot of money for the first date. I don't mind if a guy doesn't spend, to your point, a lot of money on the first date, as long as there's thought put into it and as long as, we have a good time. But at the end of the day, like, you need to date people whose boundaries match up with what you're willing to put out.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're constantly like punching the wall because you feel frustrated that you like this person and they were not accepting of what you were willing to give when you could just give it to a person who wants to accept it.
Do you think it has anything to do with the way people are raised?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because people are not used to being told no.
I don't know.
But this is like an inherently
why is this generation
thing.
Like this, or is this something that's been going on? Is what I'm trying to figure out. Do you think the war has been out here going down?
Yes. No, the war has not been going down.
I don't think the war has been going on.
Women are recently much less inclined to deal with accepting less than what we deserve. And I think so. It's infuriating to men because they have been raised by being centered. They've been centered their entire life.
Yeah.
Like, you've been catered to. You haven't really had to put in as much effort as we have had to put in. And women have simply fallen at your feet. And now we're saying, you know what?
You mean like as far as their effort?
To date, to marry, to be in any kind of relationship. Because misogyny just works that way, right?
Okay.
Women typically, historically, had to accept way less than what they wanted or what they deserved.
I think that's still going on.
It does. And a lot of that, it has to do with kind of like financial stuff and just like where you are in your life. But I think what has happened with women who are in a place where we can take care of ourselves and we don't need the support or like resources of a man is we just say, okay, well, I'll just be single. It's fine. And when I want to go date, I'll go date.
Yeah.
But get married and have a baby with a person who, first of all, I just feel like I'd be feeling lukewarm about 98% of the guys that I go on dates with.
They ruined it for you. I don't feel that way, but I do, you know, I grew up with all brothers and like, I feel like men have like that podcast I told you I was watching. This guy was like, I was a hoe and before my wife, you're like,
yeah.
Why are you?
He also said she wasn't my type.
Right. Bro. She wasn't my type. And you do hear a lot of men saying things like that. And to me, I'm like, this gives rescue dog.
It
like
does.
I
hate it so much.
She
came and cleaned
you up, threw you in a tub, you know, read you a book that was going to clear your thoughts. Like, why do we have to rebuild them, but they're not willing to?
That is the thing, though. And I feel like he had gotten married like 20 years prior to what we're talking about. So when he got married, that was more of a norm.
Yeah.
But what we're seeing now is that people are just saying, you know what? Enough is enough.
Yeah.
I am in my peace. And this is the thing. We're in a state of peace because we've been doing the therapy, right? I'm in a state of peace. I am in a place where I don't have anybody stressing me out. Ain't nobody's son stressing me out, right? Yeah. I need for it to be appealing if I'm gonna allow somebody to be in my life.
The weird
like
part, all the men that have gone to therapy that I know and that are at peace, they're not outside. They got into things.
Yeah, they did.
They got into the gym. They got into like hobbies. They travel a lot. But then they
also got a wife probably at some point. And if they didn't get married, they are doing what we're doing, which is the right person will come along and it's fine.
I think this war is going to go on for a while. I don't really think there's going to be a lot of...
Men need to heal.
Well, they've been saying like,
y'all need to heal, baby.
Nobody's having kids and they're concerned about this, the millennials not having babies and...
Yeah, I mean, I'm 38 and I really do feel very strongly about my stance on children. I would like them.
Yeah.
I remember reading this thing about all these women who were trying to do in vitro.
Oh, and that's not an easy thing.
It's not an easy thing, but there's really no donors at this point, specifically Black donors. And I was talking to my sister about it and I was like, I just couldn't imagine. And she was like, because for me, if I wanted to do in vitro and I don't, there's just no way I would ever do it.
It seems like a lot.
It's a lot. Like if I'm gonna do it, it got to be with somebody that I love and like they got to help. But I told my sister, I feel like if I went to go do that and it was not like a donor that I wanted, I would just not do it. And she said, when you want to have a baby, it's literally all you can think about. And it clicked for me in that moment that, oh, I definitely have a very casual interest in parenthood. Like I could do it or not.
I feel like I'm too, like my personality changes too much. Like I feel like I'd be like, this seems cool on Thursday. Yeah. Come Friday, I'm gonna be like, you know what? I don't really need this kid, but I'm you know.
Yeah, like that's a lifelong commitment.
Yeah, it's a commitment.
Like, no. I think that for women, just understanding how much is gonna be on us is the cost is not worth it.
I don't know how we reconcile this war that's going on because I feel like there are so like, you know, I feel like I'm always usually in relationships, but I've never seen it to where males and females can't figure it out. Like there are so many single people that are just all they do is talk about how dating isn't going well and people are struggling. I'm like, when do we get to this or that bad? And now men are saying, oh, you got to pick them younger because
it's very predatory.
The things that I've been hearing that are coming out of their mouths to make choices for mates
that is predatory. I just want to
psycho.
Pause to look directly at y'all.
It is very.
Men who pick women, 30, 40-year-olds who are picking 20, 22-year-olds to date are doing that because they're malleable. I feel like a guy on one of the podcasts used that word specifically. They're easy to manipulate. They are predators. You don't pick women your age because women your age are not going to put up with what you're dishing out. you pick women who are young because you can manipulate and cajole them into doing what you want them to do. It's very predatory, and I think it's kind of sick.
So they not even gonna, that's the thing that was driving me crazy. I was like, so you gonna just say, oh, I just don't date women my age now. You're not gonna look into what the problem is. You're not gonna think once.
But they never.
That you should probably go get therapy?
But no.
You're gonna just immediately be like, okay, the old ones don't work. Keep them moving. Like, you're not gonna, like, I feel like this war, like, is crazy, because I feel like you hear men being like, oh, there's not enough good women out here to date, or all they want from us is money, or they all been ran through. I'm so sick of hearing that. Like I can't believe, how would you know she was a hoe if you were a hoe? And then, or you hear that, and then vice versa. You hear women saying all of them are either married, have issues with their moms, or are messed up. So, like, I feel like this is a cycle that has continued to go on in the last 3-4 years that we have not broken.
But I think people just have to let go. So I definitely am in a much different place. Like, you're in a relationship. I'm single. I've been single for a couple years at this point. For me, I, of course, would love to get married and have kids, but I don't necessarily, I'm not hanging on to that.
Yeah.
Like, if it happens, I'm very fluid about it. If it happens, that's great. If it doesn't, I will be an auntie. I will date. I will travel and eat good
Now,
food.
men get mad when they hear people. When
they do, but this is why they're mad, though, because, and I mean, when I ended a very long-term relationship in 2017, I remember feeling like frantic, like, oh my God, because I thought I was going to be with that person for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
When I ended that relationship, I do remember being very frantic, like, oh my God, and thinking I was going to date seriously, and thinking that, oh my God, I might not get married, and just feeling very freaked out about that, because that's what you do. I'm from the Midwest. You get in a relationship, you buy a house, you get married, you have kids. Like,
right.
That is what you do.
Right.
And the thought of not doing that was really scary to me. But I think the longer that I was alone and just spent time learning who I was and healing from all the ridiculous things that I had gone through, the very traumatic things that I had gone through, it kind of became like a thing where it was like, okay, the right person will come along. But
we all are thinking that. Even healed men are like, I've even read through articles and stuff I see online, or podcasts I've listened to, other podcasts anyway. There are men that are saying, like, I took time and was by myself and liked it so much that I just was like, I'm cool.
But again, I think at some point the right person will come along. You look at people like George Clooney, who was I think they used to call him like a terminal bachelor, because he was just always with a new girl. And he met his person and he got married very quickly. And they're in love. And I think the thing is, you have to be less rabidly obsessed with partnership and more like interested in building your own life. Like, at this point in my life, I want to build what I want to do. I want to travel. I want to food blog. I want to like do a cookbook at some point. Like, I didn't end a super long relationship and then end my relationship with my job to try to get into something that I don't necessarily feel like I fit in, just to say that I'm married.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's
think that's where the war is coming in. There go your point. Back in the day, that was the thing.
You did that because you had to.
It wasn't that you even had to. I think the way that my mom was raised and her sisters were raised, it was like you were supposed to find a mate. Success was a husband. That success was finding a husband. You were very successful in my mom's time if you found a husband who was wealthy.
But I think also there was a lot more success in partnership back then than there was in being single for women.
That's what I'm saying. Now women are like,
we don't need that. Black women are among the most educated women in the United States. Or,
we be bringing home more money than men nowadays.
Exactly. And so for us, it's a very comfortable thing to just say, you know what, until the right person comes along, I'll be single, and I'm okay with that. And it's infuriating to them because they are not reaping the benefits that their parents and grandparents reaped. It's It really
That's what
is
I want to say.
that.
Chime in the comments on this one. I want to hear from men as far as them. Do you feel demasculated? I think that's the proper word, correct? Emasculated because of the fact that now women are more successful. I don't think that women are now like more masculine, how they're saying.
They're
like
not.
it's
But
different.
I also feel like the men who are,
they don't feel comfortable approaching that. And I think that guy said that. He was like, most men are insecure.
That's their own thing.
That's their own thing. So if you are a lot and you are doing well and you're successful and you have money and you're a pulled up type of woman and you're educated, they don't feel comfortable talking to you.
But also, we're not in their league though. That's
but
why they don't feel comfortable.
Try, though.
They still want to try, but it's the same thing of the $5 date. You're trying to date out of your league. Yeah. So guys are always like, why should I take you on a $5 date? Girl, men don't have
no such thing as a league.
They don't, but
you ever be outside looking fine as hell and a bum be like, hey, shorty. He not thinking like she got a house.
They don't.
In a car. But I can hit this.
I don't want to say league because that sounds so pretentious. That's not, I'm
just saying like they don't think like that.
But they are dating people who are not in the same mind frame that they're in. And you're trying to force a $5 date on a woman who is routinely taken on $200, $300, $400 dates. It's not going to work. Yeah. And what you need to do is abandon her because she's not going.
Alicia said, hey, if you want a broke bitch, go to the broke bitch club.
It's not even broke.
She said, don't come around here with all that shit. You better take your ass where the bitches is accepted.
Is it you go where you are accepted? Like you go where
I don't know
people
if
accept what you're giving out.
That because I'm like, I've been in a situation where I've been broke and I didn't really be like, let me go look at the broke niggas.
It's not about that. I'm not saying
I will say I've been insecure as a woman trying to date in my because as an entertainer, yes, you're not making money. And I always feel really uncomfortable.
But that's not what I'm saying. I want to clarify that though. That's not what I'm saying. Okay. I'm not saying out of your league in the sense that you're broke, you need to date broke people.
Okay. Although that might work at the end of the day. Although this could be good advice.
I'm certainly not rich. I don't want to put that out there. What I'm saying is you go where what you're willing to put out is accepted. Yeah. So if you are comfortable spending $25 on a date, you need to figure out how to make that date spectacular, or you need to go date somebody who is also okay with a $25 date. Yeah. But what is happening is men overall are saying, why do I got to spend $200, $300 on a date? Why should I do that for you? You don't have to.
But those men are the ones that are expecting something after their date.
They are. But what I'm saying is
when that didn't happen, now they're angry.
Don't have to. You don't have to. We just don't have to go out.
Mentally, they feel like that's a loss.
They do.
Because in their mind, they're like, I spent this money and nothing came out of it.
Yes. And I actually, when I ended my last relationship, he was really angry with me. Like he talked to me kind of crazy because he felt like he had spent a lot of money on me. And I was just kind of like, we were in a relationship. We spent a lot of money on each other.
Which segues us into the war begins with the ego, bitch.
Yeah. The ego really,
is what's really making the two parties, male and female, not work right now.
Yeah. He was really upset because he just kind of felt like I played him for some reason. But in my mind, we spent a lot of money on each other. We spent a lot of time together. There were things that I was constantly telling him were making me uncomfortable or making me upset, and he was not addressing those things. Yeah. And so we broke up.
But I think that goes on both ends. The war is happening because even there, I have some friends that when a man says or doesn't call them back or leaves them on red, they take that personally. I'm the type of woman, I feel like if you're not showing me the type of interest that I feel like I deserve, I'm not getting ready to ask you nothing. I'm probably exiting stage left.
But I think for some people,
but a lot of people with their ego feel as if I'm deserving of a better treatment from someone when at the end of the day, it's like they have a choice to either date you or not, reply to you or not.
But I think that's a learned behavior.
Oh yeah,
right.
Back to healing. Second way to healing.
You heal, and then you're like, oh, you can't like make
self-esteem
like
and ego plays a huge part in everyone's life.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that shit together,
you really will accept way less than what you deserve. And so you can't make a guy see your value or your worth, and you can't like shine a light on how amazing you are and have him suddenly fall in love with you. It just doesn't work like that.
Right.
If the guy doesn't see the value, if you don't see the value in the guy, it's okay to part ways. It's okay. Like,
yeah.
Again, people need to learn how to let things go.
Oh, I've just gotten good at that. I'll be honest. I was petty Miss Pedersen or whatever. I've just gotten good at that. Now I'm in this place where I'm like, when a door closes, I know a better one is always going to open. So now if people are neglecting me, or not even neglect, or just they don't want me, or maybe a project closes, I don't take it personal as I used to, being like, well, why? Well, what did I do? Or explain.
Because it's not personal a lot of times.
Yeah.
Like, and I really had to come to terms with this myself too, because I have been in a situation where I've liked somebody and they didn't like me back, and I was just kind of like, oh.
It does. I mean, it hits. It hits.
I don't like the taste of that at all.
It don't hit. And I feel like men, giving them some grace, they probably deal with more rejection than women do. And I could feel why you might want to be like, shut up, bitch. Like, you know what I'm saying? I feel you. I see why you like, you was ugly anyway, and pull off. Like, I get it.
You big man. Calm down.
Big man. But I feel like it's becoming it's looking a little like sad out there. Like I'm noticing the younger generation of males are very, very, very disrespectful to women.
Yes, I have had conversations about this with some
I'm
of them,
seeing it on the young websites.
Yes.
You scrolling through TikTok looking for funny stuff, you would come across some little boy being like, first of all, bitch. You like, what happened at school today? And he like, some girl didn't, take his Valentine's Day card, I was telling you.
Yeah. But the thing is, they're learning it from their fathers, though.
Their fathers and their mothers. Love you, moms, but let me tell you something.
Actually,
moms will cater to their son and cradle them real heavy. You fine, Darnell. Meanwhile, he crossed that. No, I'm kidding. But they will make them feel like
they're cream of the crop. Yes. And
I will say this.
Meanwhile, the girl got to take the trash out at 11 p.m. and wash all the dishes.
Nothing against my mom. Love her to death. But me and my brother grew up in the same household. And I feel like I came out harder.
Yeah.
And stronger because of the way she was raising me versus him. That was her baby. That was her little man.
Yeah.
So it was like he couldn't do no wrong. And when something went wrong, you gon' pet him on the back. Mm-hmm. But if I fall and start crying, get up, you got to be strong.
Yes.
Like that was like a mentality in the black homes that I think is becoming a huge problem in dating with black men.
Yeah.
They are entitled by their mothers.
Mm-hmm. They're entitled by their mothers and fathers.
Yeah.
I think men in general are just raised, like I said, they are used to being centered. And we were talking about this earlier about that kid who, I think he asked a girl to be his girlfriend.
Right.
And she said no. And the dad, was texting with the dad to tell him about it. And he basically was like, okay, we gonna send cupcakes or donuts or something to school tomorrow. You give everybody one but her. We gonna teach her a lesson. But what is the lesson?
What's the lesson?
The lesson is that if you don't say no to men, that
the lesson is you're creating a rapist.
You're creating a monster. Yeah, like
we don't need that.
The lesson should be, okay, babe. Well, everybody's not gonna like you.
You got to teach that man no.
Let me take you out for ice cream.
You got to teach him no means no. Okay,
like you don't get to coerce people and manipulate people into doing what you want them to do simply because you want them to do it. Like
this giving Carrie pig's blood action. Because remember, some dude denied her and he was like, we'll show her. We'll pour pig's blood.
Is that what happened?
I think it was something weird like that.
They was talking about Carrie on. This is going to like totally
movies back in the day.
They were ridiculous. But do you remember at the end of Carrie, the doctor goes to see like her friend and her mom. And the girl is like catatonic. She's just like sitting in a corner staring out the window. And the doctor's like, she's young enough that she's going to forget most of it. But she was like 17.
Not the doctor was like, she'll be all right.
But like young enough that she's going to forget it at 17. A whole gym full of people were
just saw pig's blood pouring all over.
Like, you think she going to forget this as a late teen? As an early teen? Nobody's forgetting this. I was just so flabbergasted.
That just made me think, oh, maybe this was a thing. Because remember we were growing up, like if you were like told a boy no, he would push you on the ground, or hitting you was a way to like tell you that he liked you.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
It was a thing.
It was a thing.
But I also think that we definitely got to get away from the place where we telling little girls, because I feel like that still happens. You'll hear elders say it sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, maybe he likes you if a kid is like being aggressive with a little girl. Yeah. We definitely want to like.
No, let's change
stop saying that. Yeah. There's
was it Fresh something? I don't know the name of the podcast. Fresh and Fit. I think it is.
Ugh, yeah.
That podcast.
That's the two guys, right?
Yeah. I literally...
I can't watch.
I've watched a few just to try to understand the purpose of it.
I feel like it's watching Fox News. I can't deal with it.
But that is... But I mean, they're two nice looking men.
Are they?
That they literally make an effort to abuse these women. Mm-hmm. Now, here's my concern. The women are coming on the podcast.
I don't get that either.
They are showing up to this.
I don't.
That sometimes makes me think the reason that we are in a gender war is because they're not being used to being told no. Maybe that ego and whatever is making them feel like when she says no, like I should, I need to tell her something.
Coerce.
Like, what is that?
It's rape.
It's bizarre. Yeah. It's bizarre. I think that's where we're coming into issues
but
here.
I also think that women go on those shows. There's ego on the side of women who go on those shows too, because you feel like you'll be the one who will be able to make the point. You'll be the one who will be able to turn the tide and help them see the error in their ways.
Yeah.
And there's ego in them that says that we need to break her down. We need to show her what it's like. It's the same ego that dictates that we're going to be like old cat ladies who don't have anybody to take care of us.
I hear that on there all the time.
In the nursing home when we're old and gray, and that's why we should have kids. Yeah. Like they're trying to scare us into have kids, scare us into marriage. Mm-hmm. The whole situation is ego based.
Yeah.
It's you need to do this or else.
Yeah.
And the or else is just not a real thing.
Yeah.
Like
I see that a lot.
Nobody cares. Like everybody needs to relax. Take a pill and relax. Like cut the shenanigans. It just doesn't have to be as hard as everybody is making it. Go to therapy. Talk to your friends. Like a lot of the other issue is I think that men are not holding other men accountable. And so
that's a good one. That's a great one.
Yeah, you have friends.
But how did they do that?
Well, it's the same way that if I have a conversation with my girl and I know she's...
No, it ain't the same. Because when they start talking, they're like, shut up, you like...
No, but so... When...
like, I don't think they...
But they
have a wine night.
They don't have a wine night, but they need to, though. They need to be in a space where they can say, yeah, I kind of think it's shitty that you did that. Like, I kind of don't think it's all right. I know, it's like, tear me up. I don't feel like that thing you said or that thing you did was okay, and here's why. And a lot of guys will be around abusive men and know that they're abusive and never say anything.
Yeah.
So there's not, and the thing is, nobody can hold men accountable like other men because they're not listening to us.
It really depends on your surroundings. I think if you surround yourself around a certain type of man, like I look at that. Like I don't know how other women do, but like when I first started dating my boyfriend, like, it was like, okay, it's about a couple of days. But then I was like, I need to meet your friends. I need to see, are you hanging around single men? Are you hanging around men that are in relationships? Are you hanging around married men? Like, that to me determines what I'm actually getting myself into.
But the thing is, I don't even know if it's necessarily a good call or a good determination of what kind of person a guy in a relationship would be based on if his friends are married, single, or like...
Well, to me, that made me think like, well, if he's hanging around a lot of single guys, then he's obviously not trying to be in a relationship.
But I think no, because I'm single and quite a few of my girlfriends are single, and
but women are different.
We are.
You could be single and still be out respecting yourself. Single men be turned
wildin'.
And I'm like, I don't want my man being like, I'm out with such and such. You ever had dated a guy and he had that one friend, and when he tell you that he's out with Darnell and them, you like, oh, I'm about to show up. And
Darnell is your name.
It's the name, baby. Darnell's the worst man ever. When he say he out with whoever that is, you got on the army suit in the bushes, like, let me see what y'all like. I paid attention to that. Plus, I feel like in the beginning, men showcase a version of themselves that you don't get to see until darn near 6 months to a year. Mm-hmm. Like, some men are good actors for a whole year.
So I actually I'm reading.
Next thing you know, you like, what are all these boogers behind your bed? Like, you didn't even tell me you was collecting boogers. Like,
but for real though, I saw a tweet where a girl was saying that her man throws his old contacts behind the bed. Like, they're really nasty.
That is a deal breaker. You see what I'm saying?
Deal breaker.
You've been with him a whole year and then you look behind the bed.
He literally had a wall of blue
Can
contacts.
you imagine?
I would die. Like literally moving out.
Talk about ghosting somebody.
The movers immediately.
And I'm calling the police.
I wouldn't even ghost him. I would send him a picture of the contacts and say, hey, you know what? This is a little more than I thought I was signing up for. I'm going to go ahead and go.
I'm calling it in. Like,
that's crazy to me.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
Because they won't show you that until you really get in a relationship with them. I'm telling you.
So I'm reading this book by Eckhart Tolle. It's called A New Earth. And he talks about that, about how when you first get into a relationship with somebody, everybody's presenting the ego. You're presenting what you think I want, and I'm presenting what I think you want. And then because it's so hard to maintain a facade, eventually all of that fades away and you're introduced to the real person. And a lot of times it doesn't work once you meet the real person, because the real person is crazy or is emotionally like just a psychopath and like manipulative and rude and just like very like the antithesis of what you thought you were getting, honey. And so
the mask be off. You be like, like,
but that's happened to me before in a relationship.
Yeah, I think the both of us. My ex-fiance was that. It was like he was a certain version of who he was. Yeah. And then I think we got into a year of it. And then that's when women, we all have to come to this term of being like, can I deal with this? And if it's contacts behind the bed or boogers, you can't.
You know what I found? So for me, in a relationship that I was in, I found that I was over-sexualized in a way. Where I saw this girl. I be on Twitter, y'all. I love Twitter. I just be like,
it do have the good news.
Twitter got all the tea. But this girl tweeted, she got a BBL, and she was just like, her interactions with men are so different because they sexualize her all the time. I don't have a BBL, but I've always had like a big
curves.
Yeah. And so I found that I would constantly tell this guy, like, I need you not to touch me in a certain way. Like if I tell you I have anxiety, please don't grab my ass when you hug me, because that makes me feel very uncomfortable. And his response to that would be that I was Me Tooing him. But what? Yeah. Like, I don't.
What's with not being able to set boundaries with men? Why it always got to be like a quiz afterwards? Why you just can't be like, all right,
like, yeah, if I'm just telling you this how I want to be touched when I have anxiety, just touch me that way. Like, just give me a hug and put your hands around my shoulders or my back. Yeah, but don't like cop a feel, because then I just feel cheap. But also, I found that a lot of guys, when you give them a little bit of access, you give them an inch and they take a mile, and that's been my experience as a person who is curvy, where I've just had people overly sexualize me. And it has ended things for me because men are not comfortable with you setting boundaries. Yeah. And it's fine. Like,
I think that what I'm learning, because I have a really close guy friend, he's like, we talk all the time, and he has a situation with his baby mom where he's explaining stuff to me. And I'm like, I think overall the war between the genders is people are not healing. People are stuck in the way they are, because women could be like that too. Yeah. Some women out here don't like, they don't know how to like accept the boundaries of a man. Like he could say he wants XYZ and they gonna be like, well, what? You know, question that. And I think that's the problem that we're running into right now. It's like everybody, no one's really looking in within and seeing themselves, especially when I hear people say, I keep meeting this. You like, this is a job for you.
That's a sign for the universe.
That's a sign that you need to.
The universe will continue to send you the same thing over and over and over again until you learn the lesson.
Listen,
I've experienced it. Yes.
All I can
one
say
of the
is,
reasons why I walk away so quickly. I'm going to send that text. The text is going to come because at this point I understand what my boundaries are.
Yeah. I definitely went through the same guy over and over again, honey.
Whew. You will. The guy will keep sending you the same test until you pass it. Yeah. That is just the way that it works. It's like being held back in a grade. You cannot pass from 4th to 5th grade unless you pass all of the tests necessary to get from 4th to 5th grade. Yeah. Like, if you don't pass the test, you fail. Yeah. You do it again.
And there's men that always be saying, I always run into this side. You be like, bro,
that's a you problem.
It's a you problem. Yeah. You're picking women that make you feel like you got to spend this kind of money. You're not in a mental space of where you're attracting what it is you actually need. Or maybe you don't even know what that is.
You don't know what it is. And it's because you've not taken. Another thing is men really struggle. One of the reasons they're so angry is because they.
Not one of the reasons.
One of the reasons y'all so mad. They don't like being alone.
maybe that's, yeah.
Yes,
Wow.
they do not like being alone. There's a reason that there's a study talking about 1 in 3 men have not had sex over the age of 30, have not had sex in
My
over a
boyfriend
year.
be loving to be alone.
But I think
I was like, is that because he's the only child?
Well, if
He
you're an
loves
only
it.
child, it might work. But
He
I
loves
think for a lot of men, like, you'll notice that they hop from relationship to relationship to relationship to relationship.
Yeah.
So,
or they backtrack a lot.
Yeah.
1 minute it's this new girl, and then they back with their ex, and then
spinning the block.
yeah.
It's not a thing necessarily of being physically alone. It's literally not having a person that you can text a meme to.
Yeah.
Or somebody that you can hit at 2:00 in the morning and say, hey, what are you doing? Let's come over. Or somebody that you can call to go to a movie. They don't know how to function
went through that. Heavy.
without that.
Mm-hmm.
And so once you actually start to do the work of being by yourself, because it's a bitch. I was in a very long relationship.
Mm-hmm.
That first year of being by myself after being in a relationship for as long as I was just kind of like, what is this?
Yeah,
it was so uncomfortable.
It's
so hard. I would go to work and come home and just sit in my apartment and look around like, just me, huh?
Yeah. How about having a cat? That's where I was. I was in there literally talking to this fool like, well,
yeah.
And then he got the meowing back. And I was like, bitch, you got to go outside. Not the cat understands.
But for real though, you really just feel so like lonely. And I think it's consuming for men. It's all consuming. And so for them, instead of like powering through it and getting to know themselves, and sitting with themselves and being quiet and listening to their thoughts.
Yeah.
They just find somebody to replace the last person that they were with. So whereas we take the time to heal, that's why we're okay being alone. But they haven't ever healed from any of the things.
It took a while for me to get to that. I did.
Yeah, it takes a long time.
Yeah, it took me a while.
It takes a long time. It takes a lot of therapy and journaling and meditation and like.
And sometimes you think you healed and you didn't.
And yeah, you do.
It was a false alarm or a false start.
Humbling experience.
I had that. Like I thought, after the time I took after the broken engagement, I thought I was good, and I went out there and dated, and then I was like not really dating for the reason because I wanted to date. It was like I had attachment issues. I just needed to have male.
Absolutely had attachment issues.
But when you realize that you're healing, it is all like a video game. Like it's almost like when you beat the big boss, bitch. When you beat Cooper, okay, you never even see him again. Like your whole, like the sky open up,
it does.
Your skin clear up,
like
your titties get perkier,
start falling out the sky. Like your skin is amazing.
The phone call you was waiting on happened. Like
everything. The glow up be
real.
Yeah, it's very real, and
you remember them strategically. When I finally beat the big boss. Yeah, I'll never forget how I felt, what was going on in my life, how the sun shined in my apartment different. Like I started booking. It was just like I had like gotten past a level.
Because the universe is sending you tests. When you pass
and they gonna come back again and check if you still stupid.
Yeah. And when you pass it, it's like, oh, okay, now she's ready to level up. Yeah.
Yes.
It sucks that we have to do this, but you have to really constantly be in a state of reflection of like, okay, how can I be better than I was last year, last month, last week, yesterday?
And when you heal, which will be vice versa for male and female, your dates are going to be different. And that's why women are choosing different. I think that's the problem with men. It's like, once you actually heal, there's this thing that you don't even really need 2 and 3 dates. The one you could just hear them breathe a certain kind of way. You're gonna hear that breathing pattern is toxic. You gonna roll out.
This is me.
True, like
this is me. This is why I have been single. I mean, I was in a relationship in 2021 for a few months. But for the most part, I would say I have liked a total of 2 guys in the last 5 years.
I'm gonna ask you a good question though.
Okay.
Because you are dating. Do you think that the fact that women are healing and we are tired of certain things, do you think that we are less likely to work things out now?
Yes.
That might be a bad thing.
It's not.
You think so?
No, because I don't think it's a bad thing at all. So when it's a person that everything just meshes, you go through like a very long honeymoon period. I'm talking like could be like a year, 2 years, 3 years. People really be having to work stuff out a month in. I'm not about to work this out.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That's different.
Like, I feel like there are things that
depending on what the disagreement was.
Depending on what the disagreement is. And there are things that I'm certainly willing to work through, but the way that we fit into each other's lives needs to be fairly organic or it's not a match. And I think what ends up happening is the ego is presented and you're getting a version of them. And then 2 months down the line or 3 months down the line, you're starting to see the person that they actually are. And you're just kind of like, oh, no, I'm not about to work through that.
Yeah.
And it's okay. But I think the frustrating thing for men is that they're not getting the grace that they used to get.
Yeah.
Because we don't have patience.
We don't have it anymore.
Like, I don't have the patience. I live a very soft life.
My thing is, though, I just don't want to get to a point where I'm not, because I understand that people are flawed. And most of us are going to come into this as flawed. You know, whether it's past relationships or something that happened in childhood or, you know, we're all going to have something.
Of course.
So you're not going to run into, I just don't want both parties, male and female, to be out here being like, I just can't. Like, you are going to have to compromise in some way.
I don't think it's going to be perfect. I agree.
Yeah, you know.
I 100% agree. I don't think it's going to be perfect, but I think that it needs to feel organic. And to your point, the same way that you can pick out when somebody's going to be toxic, they breathe wrong and you just like, oh yeah, no, we definitely not doing this. The parts where I have felt like, oh, like my interest is peaked and I'm like back for the second date and I'm on your phone. Because that's the other thing. If I really like somebody, I'm going to give it my all.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to show up. I'm going to do the calls, the texts, like, want to do the dates. Like, I'm going to make sure that you know how I feel about you. Because I never want to walk away from a situation feeling like, I wonder if they knew how I felt. Right. And if they knew how I felt, would it have ended differently? Yeah. So I'm certainly willing to, let me not put too much on it. I will give a little bit of grace. Yeah. But I think that we are much more aware of what our deal breakers are.
Oh, yeah.
Than we have been comfortable saying in the past or stating in the past. And because we live the life that we do, we just want to make sure that the person that's coming into it fits into it. Yeah. And that we fit into their lives.
Also, I feel like life is mad fucking hard.
It's hard. Okay. And I just don't want to make space for somebody that's going to make my life harder.
Okay. Yeah. I was going to go with that one. Like, bitch. Yeah.
Like, no. don't add stress to my plate. I have enough stress that I'm experiencing.
Like men say, be my peace.
Be my peace.
Because they be out here trying to be like, I just want some peace. And then, and then they be bringing a nightmare. You like, how?
You will be my past. And that is how that works. Like, I know
this is true from the videos those little toxic videos I do online and just jokes I say on stage. There's a lot, there's a lot of toxic people out there that expect people to deal with their weird personalities.
They do.
I've heard people be like, that's just me. Huh? No.
Yeah, no.
No. That's not working.
No.
I will say I have been that woman in life where I dealt with a man that's been real toxic and I would give him the grace and he would apologize and then we would be good for a week and then we back at the same
It's abusive.
I could never put myself through no shit like that. Like now when I think about the amount of arguments that I've had in public.
Yeah,
bitches is yelling on La Cienega, walking up the hill alone.
Absolutely not.
No.
Immediately no.
I don't know how many times I threw my ex out of my apartment. He should have been tired of getting kicked out.
But this is why we don't want to work it out.
Right.
This is why. Because if I'm dealing with this level of toxicity, now I got to go heal from you. I don't want to be rebuilding yourself consistently where I got to heal from it.
Yeah.
Like if we part ways, let it just be on some very amicable, like, okay, well, it didn't work out. It was lovely to meet you.
Yeah.
But if I'm leaving our encounter in a deteriorated fashion, I don't ever want to talk to you again.
Yeah. But it's a lot of men out here that's bruising their ego because they getting a lot of thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much. This was fun.
But it's the same thing for some of my homegirls that really, really want to have successful relationships and they feel like, dating apps aren't working or it didn't work out with this guy or it didn't work. I think all of us are feeling that heat of what we want so badly out of relationships. And when they're not working, your ego steps in every time something like, no matter what gender you are.
It does.
And now that's why we in like the rap songs is lit. Like women are like, fuck, like everybody's mad. Like people are mad.
The girls are giving everything that they're supposed to have gave, okay?
They're giving it, and so are the male rappers.
The rap girls are giving me life. Like, I love them.
Yeah.
But I think, so for me, I deleted my dating apps because I just got tired.
I think they're awful.
I don't feel like doing it anymore, but I also really did get to a place where I was just kind of like, I kind of just want to focus on myself.
Mm-hmm.
And when it's the right person and when it's the right time, it will just like come together.
Yeah.
And things will be amazing. And I'm just not going to look for it though. Because
that means she about to get married next week.
I know.
You already know when somebody sit in front of the camera and say what you saying, the man is coming.
I just don't.
Because that's where it happened for me.
Yeah.
I had got my last relationship was so turned.
Like, I just don't have the energy.
Like, he wore me out, y'all. Like, I was out of shits and fucks. I had cursed this man out from the cows to the moon,
solar system.
To the point where when I finally met a normal guy, you know, luckily he put in the effort.
Yeah.
Because I was definitely like, no, I can't do this anymore. Like, I was drained.
Yeah.
I was so drained with just men in general and how they were and and then I also felt too, I did a lot of healing and I was who I was. I find that as an issue too. Women come to the table as them. Mm-hmm. This is my job. I'm family oriented. I work out. I like this yoga class. You get to the table with men. I mean, I be doing stuff. Mm-hmm. They don't like it. Like it's a lot of that.
That's why one of the reasons I deleted my dating app is because I noticed that I kept seeing guys in all of the photos on their dating app would be selfies in their car. What do you do in your life?
What's your world?
Like, do you only drive to places?
You an Uber driver, and I don't
like
need this.
Literally. I just don't understand why every photo on this app is of you.
No,
in
nothing
a mirror.
against Uber drivers, but
nothing against Uber drivers. But why you in this car in all of your photos? And then when you ask them, okay, well, what do you do for fun? I remember I asked this guy like what he was reading, and he said, "I really don't be reading. I be on my phone. I read stuff on my phone sometimes." You don't read no books?
Yeah.
He said he don't read books. He just reads on his phone, and that was a turnoff for me.
You know, I learned to get into more things because I was seeking that in men. Mm-hmm. That helped me get better.
Yeah.
I felt like when I was going out and I was asking people what they're into and they couldn't tell me, I was like, oh, all you can say is you do comedy.
Yeah.
All you can say is you do this. What else do you like outside of your career? Like, that's when I was like, oh, I'm a gym rat. And sometimes I like to go hiking with my friends. Mm-hmm. And I have a solid group of friends and we do dinners and, you know, and now
But you build a life for yourself.
Yeah. But I wasn't doing that for a long period of time. I was just, my life was the comedy club and auditioning and whatever. And that was what I thought was enough to present who I was. And it was like, that doesn't give you depth.
But the thing is, it is enough. Like, I think that
how you gonna have conversation?
You can, though. You have a whole...
I'm gonna just talk about comedy the whole time?
No, but I think you have a whole dialogue that happens in your head, like, of your thoughts and feelings.
Because even now, I find myself with my boyfriend now, I feel like he listens to the podcast. This is happening on the news. He travels a lot. His friends went here. He be doing dinners.
Right.
I'd be like, I can't just be like only having career talk. Like, I'm like, I've been telling myself lately, like, take an art class, Fatima, or, you know, join Pilates or something. You need something else.
Something that, like, makes you
and it's not for him,
interested.
But it made me think to myself, being like, there's more to you than just what you do.
Yeah. I totally get that. You're right.
So, but that's the problem. The fact that women are like, ding, light bulb, let me go ahead and men are just being like, well, she was just a bitch. Like, you need to just be like,
very
maybe
inflexible.
You know
very
what I'm saying?
Like, she's the problem. There's nothing wrong with me. Whole time you've been on 47 situationships.
Yeah.
And been dumped from every single one of them.
And
you are the drama.
You are the drama, sir.
Yeah.
And I think that's why my relationship now is kind of going great. Because when I say something to him about how I feel about something, he'd be like, huh, I've heard this. So maybe like da-da-da-da. Like, you got to be with somebody, too, that's going to take accountability for the way they are. There are so many people now that you be like, you know what? I didn't like when you say that. That's because you sensitive.
Exactly.
You like, whoa, what?
Well, so that's what was happening to me.
Yeah.
I'm telling you that I don't like the way you're touching me, and you're telling me that I'm putting too much on it, or I'm making a big deal out of nothing, but like, it's a big deal to me.
Yeah.
And I just would really love for you to say, okay, you know what? You're right. Let me work on that.
Yeah.
And a lot of men don't have that a lot of people, I think, don't have the ability to say when they're confronted with something that they've done wrong or something that's made someone unhappy, they immediately get defensive as opposed to being reflective and saying, okay, well, maybe I could work on that.
That's a lot of unhealed people.
It's a lot of unhealed people. And the truth of the matter is so many more relationships, platonic and romantic, would thrive if people would just listen to how people want to be loved, how they want to be communicated with. Yeah. Like if you are talking to me and we're having a discussion and it gets heated and you start yelling or you curse at me, I'm out.
Oh, I used to date this dude that every time I'd be like, I don't like when you do these. Like, my mom used to say that.
Yeah, whoa! No, you can't yell Red flag. At me. If you yell at me, I will literally just...
Red flag.
I'm done talking. Yeah. Like, this is just not a thing I'm going to do. Because at this point, I feel like we should be able to communicate the things that we feel without raising our voices. You don't need to curse at me. Yeah. But I also think that that is a symptom of what it would look like to have kids with somebody. Yeah. Like, if every time you mad, you yelling and cursing, I don't want to have kids with you. Yeah. Why would I ever procreate with somebody who communicates like that?
Keyword, Planned Parenthood should stay open.
Planned Parenthood. But the thing is, Planned Parenthood.
That's why it's called planned.
Yes. You have to be very intentional about how you pick your partner.
Oh, like, tell me.
You have to be. So that's why I won't go out with short men.
I can't stand you. I can't stand you. This one said, you better find the broke bitches and you better be tall. I mean, I'm tall, so I don't really feel like that's a vibe.
Be between 6'2" and 6'4", which is a really small window for my dating options.
I was gonna be like, girl, them dating apps, you best to get up off them.
But I really,
because ain't nobody tall on there.
It ain't nobody tall, and I used to. At one point, I had like subscribed, and you could like put a height on there for Hinge. You could like select a height. Oh, but okay. I'm. Okay, guys, I'm gonna just say something very like ridiculous, but the reason that I
talk your shit,
I won't even go on a date with a guy who is short because I understand that there is always the like occasion, perhaps there's a probability or possibility that you could fall in love, and this man be 5'5". And I'm 5'3", and so we just don't have some little gymnasts.
You know what? Not little gymnasts.
I don't want it.
Child. I mean, I feel like I've dated a guy. Like he wasn't shorter than me, but we probably were eye to eye.
But that's what is that like? How tall are you?
5'8".
Okay. Well, yeah, I wouldn't date a guy that's 5'8". Yeah,
he's 5'8", and he might not even been 5'8". He might have been 5'7". You know. Yeah. The fact that we had to stand next to each other and do a thing, that means he was small. But I mean, I've dated a guy shorter, but also that goes back to the ego of a man. Sometimes when they date a woman shorter than them, they ego finna step up even more. Mm-hmm. Now he gotta make you seem small by saying something wow. And that's kind of how our relationship went. Yeah. He would always say something. Yes. And you'd be like, why?
It's I'm like, Napoleon complex.
Yeah. But I mean, I've never really had discriminate towards height or whatever. I think more for me when I got healed was more like I know what my triggers are and what bothers me through my therapy, that I was like, I can't date this particular type.
Yeah. So technically, my therapist told me that my aversion to men under 6, I mean, I would do 6'1". Men under 6'1" is it's a protection thing for me. Like because I'm small, I need to feel protected. And I'm a thick girl, but I'm 5'3". Yeah. Like when I go out with a guy, I need to feel
preference
like,
too. There's nothing wrong with having a preference.
And I also understand that I'm not everybody's preference either. Like that's normal. I'm too thick for some people. Yeah. Like I'm too whatever for some people. It's fine.
And that because we do got to wrap up, but I think in a preference wise, it should be okay to you. Like, I don't want to date this type. I don't want him to be this type. Because men do that all the time. They do that all the time. I think that in closing for this, I think that the only way that this gender war is changing is people really need to look within and really start.
Really got to reflect.
Really start reflecting.
Please heal.
And to me, I look at it like this. Nobody should ever want to feel like they want to disrespect somebody because it makes you disrespect yourself. Yeah. So if you're okay with being like, whatever, bitch, and then pulling off, like, you need to check in
here
and see why you want to say that. Vice versa, the women are being like, that's why you broke and your dick small. Like, why do you need to? if you need to like make, you know what I'm saying? Like you gotta check
that's
in.
That's a you problem because it's the ego talking.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you gotta do all that
because you feel offended that somebody did not choose you, when the reality is we don't choose 99.9% of the people that we come into contact with. And it's literally okay. It really don't gotta be no hard feelings. Of all the relationships that I've had that didn't work out, there's no hard feelings. Yeah. It's fine. Like, I see y'all out in public. Hey.
And be honest out here in these streets.
Be honest.
Be who you are. Because a lot of times too, people like will date and be like, oh, this is what I want right now, but I really don't. That's not what I see my future with. Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that either.
Unless y'all have a mutual like discussion of that is what it's gonna be.
Because you know men be out here like gotta catch them all like Pokemon, and then
it's really crusty.
Like it's really weird, and you just be ridiculous. Like, sir, like. But I feel like that's where the problems are coming in. But we gotta cut the war, y'all. Like, come on,
we gotta cut it. People gotta heal.
Let's get some respect for ourselves and in others.
Let's get to a place where people do not have to heal from their experiences with you, because leaving a relationship in a worse space than you were when you went into it is really not the tea.
It ain't even worth it. We too old for that.
We're too old. Like, so heal, go to therapy, journal, meditate, work out, and the next time somebody tells you no, say namaste.
How about just okay and just be like, all right, bye.
Keep it pushing. It's fine. Yeah.
Although pulling off saying bitch, like that's, I just want to keep doing that because it's so funny to me.
Y'all be so mad.
All right. You guys can find The Girls Want to Know on IG and YouTube. Yes. Please leave comments about what you want to hear us talk about and chime in and let us know how you feel about this episode. I'm Fatima Talia.
I'm Alicia. You can find us both on Instagram, Glow It Away.
And we have a page.
We have a page.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I'm like, you can find us on Instagram.
The Girls Want to Know.
Not me. Yes. The Girls Want to Know how they own page.
But you can find us both though. Like doing it because we just built our we building our own lives, guys. Like we have our own thing going on. So I think follow us on YouTube and follow us on Instagram at The Girls Want to Know, and then follow us separately because she's funny as hell. Support and I be cooking. Yes.
Ladies trying to heal and give some advice.
Yes. We just want everybody to be better. That's all.
All right. Till next time, y'all.
Bye, boos.
Bye.